At Your End Step is brought to you by Comic Town and BCW Supplies. Hello, and welcome to At Your End Step. My name is Morgan. I'm here with Mike.
Call me Jace.
And Dave.
Call me maybe?
I just met you, man.
No, you didn't.
I know, that's a bold-faced lie. We have another fun episode for you folks today. But we have a lot of stuff to talk about, actually. Some huge news has rippled through the People's format that we need to discuss, pretty much right at the top of the show. So let's get started. Yesterday we had a banned and restricted announcement, and 2 monumental cards were removed from the ban list. One of them being Bloodbraid Elf, the safest unban I think we can all pretty much agree on.
Called it.
Yeah.
Yeah, you and the entire...
Yeah, I know. Everybody called it.
Everyone else in Magic. But the second card being removed from the ban list is a kind of a bit of a surprise to some people. It's Jace the Mind Sculptor, the face of Magic.
Now, Shaheen Sarani can now go, called it.
Yeah, correct.
He's allowed.
Yeah. After 3 years.
After he's done, it comes back from ascending to the gods. After shock.
I just like the idea of picturing the modern ban list as a big prison, and Jace is just pacing back and forth as a cell as you see the war, and everyone's like, is he getting out?
You sure
is
this
he
wasn't
getting out?
You sure this wasn't sort of a Shawshank Redemption sort of situation where he just tunneled his way out?
Jace crawled through a tube full of dookie and came out.
You just wanted to say dookie.
Well, I was trying to not say the word.
I mean,
because
that's literally...
And dookie's the funniest poop word.
That is. That's a fact. I don't know if you folks knew that, but you can take that to the bank. That could be an answer in Jeopardy.
Is dookie
what?
or doo-doo?
The funniest poop word.
Doo-doo's pretty good,
no,
too.
Doo-doo is if a little kid says doo-doo, it's real funny.
Yeah.
But for an adult, if you just be like dookie, it's
Well, welcome to our podcast. No, but obviously...
We're all adults, I swear.
No, not even close.
dookie kind of looks like goober. But
That's 3 weeks in a row. Been a goober reference.
this is our new secret reference.
Smuckers is going to hit us with a cease and desist.
This is the new...
If I got a cease and desist from Smuckers, I would frame it and put it on my wall. Oh, man. Why are you being sued? Well, you slandered us by saying that our product looks like... What's that word here?
And I quote, dookie.
Oh, man.
Anyway, so these changes will go into effect on Magic Online tomorrow, the 14th. So happy Valentine's Day, everyone. And it'll go into effect in paper on the 19th. So the Modern Open that's going to be happening over the
President's
weekend.
Day.
Yeah,
Which has been renamed Jace Day.
Jace Day. I mean, he's kind of the president of Magic. But
Mind sculpting babies.
He even has his own money.
That's
He's on
true.
his own coin.
Wow, you're right.
Yeah.
In Jace we trust, I
He's
suppose.
the Abraham Lincoln of Magic.
Anyway, but so the tournaments over the weekend won't be affected by this. But if you have a modern tournament on Monday, you can sleeve up them Jaces and then Bloodbraid Elves and
And the same deck, maybe.
Maybe
Hey, play them in Ancestral Visions and Cascade and
play
do
a
all the
sweet
things.
teamer deck.
Yeah.
And have all the fun. But what do we think about this? Obviously, reception for this has been very mixed.
We should go card by card. Let's start with the easier one. Let's go Bloodbraid Elf.
Bloodbraid Elf. It was fine.
I was expecting it, so I mean, I don't have a whole lot to say. I mean, I think it obviously the first thing that jumps to everybody's mind is Jund, because that's the deck that Bloodbraid Elf was most played in, and it makes a lot of sense. I think it gives people a reason to play Jund over something like Abzan, which has been the more popular,
or even Traverse Shadow, which is Shadow became the Jund for a while.
I can see it in Traverse Shadow as maybe a
I'm
target.
saying this is the reason to play Jund and not that. I don't see Bloodbraid Elf in. That's not what I'm saying.
Yeah. I was that's kind of odd, but maybe as a Traverse target.
The first version of Traverse Shadow is what really started to chip away at Jund's metagame share until it sort of disappeared. So this could be a reason to go back to that as opposed to this.
Yeah, we're talking about traditional Jund with Scavenging Oozes and
that card was played in Modern.
Yeah,
card was sweet.
Again,
It still can be.
Yeah.
I think it's some of the chord lists, but like, yeah.
Yeah.
No, I think we all expected it to be unbanned and sort of anticipated that. And I think that while there's a lot of cool things you can do and things that you couldn't do before, I know obviously Kolaghan's Command has spiked super hard because cascading into, and like the cool thing is like if you're playing for Blood Braves and for Kolaghan's Commands, then you can do the fun like, you know, Kolaghan's Command make you do this, get back my other Blood Braid Elf, so the next turn we can do it again. But of course, you're always imagining best case scenarios when you're doing that for Blood Braid Elf, and it's still a 4-mana 3/2, so very powerful. But I think like,
Hey, it has haste.
sure,
Don't discount that.
and that's important because it can kill planeswalkers with your loyalty.
Yeah, weird.
But I just think that like in context of the format. The free card is nice, but when you look what the rest of the format is doing, like you've got to commit to playing a 4-drop in your red-green base deck to do this. So obviously it's splashable in Modern, but you're not comboing people out with this. So
No, it's a mid range deck, and
Yeah.
like that you are playing a deck that intends to go past turn 4, or not, depending, like, you know, if you're playing a Jund or a green black X sort of mid range deck, sometimes you just get comboed out. There's not much you can do about it. But
Yeah,
you're playing proactive. You're playing discard spells to extend the game.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, those decks are good at prolonging the game, at
Right.
like, you know, stripping out, you know, your threats, disrupting your combo, you know, destroying your creatures. So yeah, the games are going to go long unless, you know, it's something like Tron, you know, like a turn 3 Tron Carnu,
Yeah.
something like that, where
But
you're not really playing anymore. But
yeah, if you if they get, you know, they top deck past your discard spells, I mean, what are you gonna do? Yeah, I think it's fine. It will be played in other decks, not just Jund.
sure, yeah, and I look forward to seeing what people will do with it. Like I said, like we have a lot of new things you can cascade into. So
Yeah.
I know people will try this, and I know heck, the only time I played Blood Braid Elf, I did the same thing.
That's hard.
And Modern as I was playing it in a Ponza deck. But that was when Deathrite Shadow or Deathrite Shaman was still there, so you could play it on turn 3, and then
You still got Arbor Elf.
you do. But
you
then
still got Birds of
The problem
Paradise.
with that is that sometimes you cascade into Birds of Paradise, and then you feel really bad.
Yeah, I mean,
So-
like that's unfortunate.
Oh
but
no, I'm just saying.
sometimes-
Like I know that's a place where it was played before.
Yeah.
Very limited. I don't know. Is this a card that spawns anything new?
you could like nothing like I don't think anything like brand new, right? Like you could say like Old Teamer, maybe,
maybe like,
but that's not
maybe-
necessarily brand new.
it might be something like maybe like a red-green aggro deck.
Again,
Maybe.
I mean,
not necessarily
I played
brand
that
new.
deck too when
Maybe
it was
like some
brand
kind
new
of
and it
like-
wasn't
like-
playing Blood Braid Elf.
Like with Blood Moons or something. I don't know. Like,
That's
I'm just
possible.
throwing
That
stuff
is
out,
always
yeah.
a powerful thing to cascade into.
Yeah.
It just I will glad to see it, and I think I'll be happy when I see it cast. But I think we all knew that this card was imprisoned for Deathrite Shaman sins, and I'm glad that it got exonerated.
Finally, took a long time.
Yeah, hey, court systems, man. What can you do?
yeah, finally got that appeal. And yeah, I think it's a fine card. The harder card to evaluate is Jace. Jace is obviously a very powerful card. Played anywhere that it is legal. It is definitely played.
The name you put in the show notes, Dave. We're not allowed to say this is a family friendly show.
And that's more for you guys.
Oh, okay. I was wondering because it's Jace, something very, very, very
Something
offensive.
MF. Yeah. Mind Sculptor.
The mother father
Yeah.
mind sculptor.
Yes.
The mother liquor. Oh man.
I just put. I'm
Slightly
just so
controversial.
excited, guys. I don't know what to tell you.
Dave has told us repeatedly that like many other Magic the Gathering players, Jason the Mind Sculptor is his favorite card.
It's my favorite card ever. You don't even understand.
There's like a Goosebumps meme with like Dave who's just like Ermagerd.
Yeah, pretty much. And that's fine. We all have our favorite cards, and I'm glad that you will soon be able to play with your favorite card in Modern.
Well, you see, I'm especially excited because it is my favorite card, but I also like don't play Legacy or Vintage, so I
Right.
haven't been able to play with Jace since it was in Standard.
Besides
outside
Cube.
of Cube, a couple times, but yeah. So I'm pretty excited, and Modern obviously is my favorite format. So
Yeah.
I picture myself playing a lot of Jason Mind Sculptors in the foreseeable future.
Of course. Yeah, that makes sense. I think the jury's kind of out on this one and its impacts in Modern. I think there are a lot of doomsayers out there. I think there are a lot of people that think it won't do anything. But I think that I don't think anyone really knows for sure if that makes any sense about how this is going to impact the format.
No, it makes total sense because we've, unlike Bloodbraid Elf, where we've seen a format where that card existed, Jace has been on, it's been in prison the entire time, which makes sense. They said in the Unbanning article that if you remember the timeline for Modern, it came sort of hot off the heels of of Jace being banned in Standard, which back then, a card being banned in Standard was a big deal that didn't happen very often.
It didn't happen like every time.
So like they were definitely afraid of just like they definitely want a Modern to not feel like Extended. Because like Extended was a format that only got played for PTQ seasons, so they wanted to make sure that it doesn't just immediately become here's Callblade. So both Stormforgers again, Jace got banned. So yeah, it's definitely hard to evaluate because we don't know what the format looks like here. I think based on what we can best guess. I do think that there's a couple ways to look at this. If you look at it from the lens of how they normally run bannings, I think it's a confusing decision because most of their bannings in the past have been that haven't been outright broken, like Splinter Twin, for example, have been diversity, right? And I think that the argument can definitely be made that Morgan, you were alluding to this before the cast, but that Jace goes into every blue deck that can play Jace, especially if they're anywhere control slanted, and that overall hurts deck diversity. It's a possibility,
or mid range, like you likely won't see it in combo or an aggressive blue deck.
Right? You said Teamer a couple times, and I've already been a few Teamer lists floating around that are hilariously trying to do both Jace and all
of it
and Bloodbraid.
They want their goober.
that dookie. But I will say that I don't think that is really the case. I think the place when you're going to see Jace, you're going to see it as like a one or two of probably not much more because like we've seen, Modern is super aggressive. When you look at the archetypes that are doing the best in Modern, and these again, all these archetypes are still like hovering below 10%, but humans and Affinity and Burn and Tron, right? These are decks that don't care about 4-mana planeswalkers. You know what I mean? Like. They just generally do not. So I think that like the format doesn't. You don't just like plug Jace into a bunch of the decks, and all of a sudden those decks are the best in the format. They definitely get better because Jace is very good, and the format will have to respect what Jace represents in those decks. But I don't know. I guess I'm definitely on the side of not Doom, right? I'm definitely on the side of like this is fine. And we can talk about the card stuff. I'm a person who's upset about the financial aspect of it, but we can come back to that.
I would say, like, I just go back to, like, Affinity probably not a good spot, though. Because, like, Jeskai Control already has, like...
Yeah, but it already beat that deck. You know what I mean? It doesn't matter.
But I mean, like, that's Jace deck. So it's, like, the Jeskai Control deck will be...
Sure, it'll be better, but, like, Jace doesn't make that matchup better against Affinity. It was already good against Affinity.
No. I'm just saying, like, that deck just is going to be more prevalent.
Possibly.
People will want to play it more.
The want is sure.
I will give you that. We'll go back to the financial implications later.
Dave wanted to.
Sure.
I was gonna say I had mixed feelings about this, even though like I love the card and I was hoping that I could play it someday in Modern. It comes at kind of an odd time.
Counts the Jaces before he goes to sleep.
Yeah, it comes at kind of an odd time because we just came off of I think a really successful Pro Tour where we had just. It showed off just the diversity of the format. Nothing really was dominant. We've had a couple of GPs, last couple of weeks where, the formats continued to kind of show that it's the people's format, really. But that was kind of my initial thought. It's like, I like having Jace back, but at the same time, like, I don't want to ruin a good thing. And I've seen like a lot of arguments saying like, this doesn't make any sense because it's like if it ain't broke, don't fix it. You know what I mean? But at the same time, like, would you rather the format be bad and then like try to make it better with Jace and then end up making it worse? Like that's even more of a disaster, right? Like, wouldn't you rather bring it in when the format's good?
If the opportunity cost wasn't so high, I would agree more with you.
Yeah.
But this isn't something you can just try out for fun,
right? and I think the reason, ultimately, what my thinking is they wouldn't have made this decision lightly without, in my opinion,
snap call. But continue. They make a lot of decisions lately, so snap call.
Remember when they announced the ban list and then that Friday announced the ban list?
Do you remember when we changed standard rotation, then almost immediately changed standard rotation? They are not. You saying that they wouldn't do this without that is crazy.
I'm saying like on.
Remember when there wasn't a Modern Pro Tour and then there was a Modern Pro Tour?
Yeah, I think you have to look at WotC as like, don't forget that they are a company with a corporate overlord in Hasbro. This is their 25th anniversary, suggesting that there's no cynicism in like this was meant to sell packs of Masters 25.
I get that.
It's there. It's literally there.
But if there was a chance that it was just going to completely destroy Modern, I ultimately don't think that they would go through.
Why? They can sell other packs and then ban it again, like they did Gorgari Dredge or whatever Dredge Hedge Troll, Dead Troll, Bed Troll. What is it called?
I'm doing the meme, the good thought meme.
No, I get what you're saying. I think they made a good point. As I said, like these are both 4-mana spells that do not win the game when they come into the battlefield. If you look at Modern as a format, they said the decks we just said that are the highest metagame shares anyways. They're winning before that or doing something more powerful than that. So yeah. I think that the chances of Jace like disrupting the format effectively are difficult. And if it takes one of the control decks, a Jeskai or a Grixis or a Blue-White, and puts it into the top 5 metagame share, that's totally healthy in my opinion. So I think there's definitely a lot of good that can come from this.
Yeah, like I just think in the doomsday scenario of they decide to unban Jace and then Jace just like takes over the format and then they have to eventually decide to reban it. That is just a complete disaster, right? Because you have this card that before it even was announced as being unbanned was already like a $70 card. And we've seen it more than double in price.
Well, let's talk about that because I think that is where the biggest room for a quote unquote disaster is. So,
right. Well, I'm just saying real quick before we get into that.
Sure.
If you unban a card, people are really excited. They want to go out and get these cards. They spend the money because they want to play with Jace. And then 6 months down the line, maybe a year down the line, they decide, you know what, this is too good. We need to reban it. How much of a feel bad is that?
It's a feel bad, but I think in Modern, I think it's less of a feel bad. Like the Dredge players didn't lose their minds. You know what I mean? Because the format has already shown that the decks that you want to play Jason already exist without Jace. Yes, it's a monetary thing for sure, but I think like the way that Modern has worked compared to even like Standard is that people are happier when the format is better. So if it needed to go back to be banned again, then I don't think you'd have the outcry.
I just think like that is more of a factor for this card than literally any other card on that was on the ban list.
Oh,
because
that's
this is for financially.
Oh, financially, sure. I thought you just meant like ability to break the format.
This comes with extra baggage that other cards don't have because this one has the financial burden behind it.
I mean, it's the face of Magic. Like Jason the Mind Sculptor is quite literally the face of Magic, and everywhere you have looked for the last, 7 years, 8 or 7 or 6 or 7 years was 2011, 2012. When it first got printed? Maybe 2010? Okay, so 8 years. So, like, I totally agree with you on that. Like, it'll be bad for WotC if Jace hurts their format. But the upside of, like, them getting to put the most iconic card in Magic back into its most played format, if it's successful, it's a boon on all sides. So, it's definitely high risk, but it's also high reward. I will say, though, that, like, I wish WotC would not lie about the financial part of it, because if you read the article, they talk about how like
they briefly mentioned
don't worry, there's another printing of Jace on the way, and there is in Masters 25. It's a mythic in a master set. The packs are going to be what, $10. It's $9.99 MSRP, just like iconic Masters. That you were talking before the cast about a card like Tarmogoyf, which is now at $50 to $60, and it took 4 printings.
$50 to $60 on like Facebook groups. Like, let's be real.
Yeah, that's fair.
Not like TCG Player even.
Like, so, but I mean, quite literally, it took 4 additional printings of that card for this to happen. And you look at a card like...
Also, some of the prominent decks that it's in to be bad.
That's true. You look at a card like Liliana the Veil, though, which is $100, and just recently, or what last year, had another printing. Jace, woohoo, you're going to get another Mythic printing, but the card is spiked, as you said, almost to $150 in this last week. And what you inadvertently do there is you price people out of decks, like myself. I finished putting together Jeskai before the Columbus Open, reacquiring Colonnades, Cryptics, all that kind of stuff. If Jace is necessary to play that deck, then even though I just put together this very expensive Modern deck, I technically can't play the best version of it because I don't have $300 extra to go spend because you on a Monday changed your mind about a card. And we've talked about other friends who like or worried about not having a deck to play, not because they don't have a modern deck, they do, but now you quite literally, again, if Jace is the best card in that deck, or Jace makes that deck a lot better, then you're just stuck playing a subpar version unless you shell out the cash. And that is so confusing to me, because WotC obviously doesn't make any money off of that. They'll make money off the packs, right? But the secondary market explosion, like, they cause it, make no money off of it, and just seem to be okay with it. And I don't know how they control that, but I know, Morgan, you suggested maybe that the Jace becomes a GP promo.
Yeah, that's the wildest one, I think.
It'd be a really cool idea, though, and it's not like they haven't done Mythics before, you know what I mean? Progenitus,
What's up?
Batterskull.
What's up, Progenitus?
I mean, Batterskull.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, granted, I don't think they've ever done a Planeswalker, though we've had Planeswalkers be other promos, like Ajani was the...
Vengeance,
Yeah, like, so, and that is a sort of like a buck wild idea, but I think like they need to address that, because if Jace is good enough to see consistent play in the format, then you're really hurting. Again, this is the people's format, because people can play what they want, but most people stick with a deck. The format's still expensive enough that they just stick with a deck. So thanks for pretending like it's not going to cost people hundreds of dollars to acquire these. Like, don't worry, you could just go down to your local store and pay $10, and then you can play with Jace. Maybe. low chance. Just go draft it a bunch. Go to Walmart. Go down to Walmart and bust all those packs of Masters 25. So I think that's the most frustrating thing for me out of it, and that goes along with what you were saying, like that. The high risk of that whole situation is that that is where you can damage your consumer confidence. Is where that cost comes in. So
and I think that's part of the reason why it did stay banned for so long. I mean, I think there were arguments to be made. There have been arguments to be made, over the course of the last couple of years, where it's like we've even talked about it here.
Yeah, there weren't even Blue decks doing well.
Yeah, and it's kind of weird because Blue is actually kind of back on the map now. I mean, Jessica has been doing decently well, and Blue White did pretty good at the Pro Tour, and
even Grixis. I mean, you've had Burkhardt this weekend, right? Was he playing
at the Pro Tour? Yeah,
was the Pro Tour. Who was playing? I saw Grixis on camera a couple times this weekend too. I'm trying to remember who it was. Anyways,
I don't know, but yeah, I mean, Blue's there. I still don't think it's quite fully there, which is I do think Jace kind of maybe pushes it up a little bit and makes it a little bit more competitive. But yeah, it's I don't know. It's surprising to me, but I think the only way that you could have brought it off the ban list is by doing it when you have a reprint coming out. Like you have to get more copies of it. I will say
that printing's still a month away though.
Yeah.
Like that is also something to remember. So I don't know. We'll see what comes of it. Again, if Jace ends up just being a one or two of in the list that play it, then like it won't sustain the $150 price tag, but it will sustain the $100 price tag. I mean, Liliana does it by being not really a pillar of the format currently. If you look at it, like Death Shadow plays it, but other than that, like Liliana the Veil does not see the kind of play that normally causes a Planeswalker to stay that expensive.
Well, if people expect these Jund decks to pick up again with Blood,
then it goes.
You're gonna want like 4 Lilianas.
I understand now how that works, but price memory is pretty dangerous when you look at some of these Planeswalkers. Liliana stays $100 also because she was $100 in Standard. So, and Jace is the same way. So, what are you gonna do?
Yeah, when I acquired my initial playset of Jaces when they were in Standard, I had to basically do like win-a-box tournaments and then crack boxes of World Wake to get my Jaces, which turned out to not be so bad if you think about all the value cards in World Wake at this point. But, I don't think I'll be cracking boxes of Masters 25 to try to get Jaces.
Nope.
But,
weird how that works. But I will say, if it follows the trajectory of Iconic Masters, you will be able to get affordable boxes for it. I've already seen that you can get boxes for like 180, 190 of pre-orders of Masters. And if Jace is $150, then like any box that has a Jace in it, no matter what the set looks like, you're going to be up in value. So there's that at least. And if they're going to print to demand like they did Iconic Masters, then there is a chance that it helps.
Yeah, which they are.
Oh, no,
I don't think you're not going to have a short run on that. So anyway, overall, I'm excited. Can't wait to play with Jace again. Wish I could play with him this weekend in Indy.
Again, it's definitely. So we should talk about it. It is the right choice, as Morgan mentioned.
Yes.
You can't play with it in Modern until Monday. It's absolutely the right choice. There's both an Open and a GP this weekend. If you already made like travel plans, it would be very wrong to just be like, here you go. So,
I agree with the decision to do that. I just selfishly, I'm like, man, I really want to play these Jaces. Not my own. I probably would have to borrow, but yeah.
This Jace is your Jace. This Jace is my Jace.
I mean, yeah, it obviously is like the correct move to make, but it is kind of awkward to have like a tournament over this weekend and it'd be like not feel like a true representation of the metagame.
Yeah, I don't
Or at
think
least
like
not necessarily the truest. I would say.
Yeah.
That would probably be the better term.
Even the first week of the unbannings won't be the truest representative of the metagame
No,
either,
no.
though.
But at least like all the toys are at play.
I guess.
Yeah, we're not even going to have a large modern event until like a month from now. Really, I think there's like an SCG,
and maybe that's fine.
Yeah,
maybe that's
I guess
okay.
We'll have to rely on some Magic Online results to see,
man,
see where it starts.
Is that a good segue? Can we move on from, or do you guys have
Sure.
some final points about Jace? All right. So speaking of deck lists, Magic Online is going to be making some changes on how those are actually released. So the new system will show every 5.0 list that is significantly different from any other, meaning 10 cards different, or will be meaning 10 card difference will be changed to 20 card differences.
Yeah, so what they do now is they release 5 deck lists start from a day, and they release 5 deck lists that have to be at least 10 cards different from each other.
Now it's 20.
The change is going to be 20 now. They have to be 20 cards different from each other.
And then Standard and Modern will be featured twice weekly, with other less played formats being only featured once a week. So Monday is going to be when the Standard lists are released. Tuesday is going to be Modern. Wednesday, Pauper. Thursday is going to be Standard again. Friday is going to be Modern again. Saturday is going to be Legacy. And then Sunday is going to be the Commander and Vintage tournaments. And they did the first few, and they were like 50 deck lists each.
Yeah, no, you're going to get more deck lists this way.
Correct.
So, which is really cool, I think.
So the first Modern one came out today, Tuesday, and we had.
I'll be more interested in the Modern one that we get on
Next
Friday.
Tuesday?
Well, Friday.
Oh, Friday, that makes sense.
Yeah, because then we'll actually see some stuff.
Sure.
Did you say 15 deck list or 50?
I thought it was 50.
Yeah, it's a lot.
Yeah,
it's 50.
No, it's a ton more deck lists, which is for places like MTG Goldfish that runs these things together. It's going to definitely be nice, and also things that allows because before, like when people had like brews they were working with and they got 5.0s, you weren't consistently always being featured. You weren't
seeing them.
Now you'll definitely see it. If it's truly unique and different, it will be seen. So I think that helps some like under the radar streamers and grinders who are trying to get featured, but I also think it also just helps people in large who are looking for more data.
Yeah.
So,
or people who like to go on there and see what weird stuff's happening in the metagame,
sure.
and be like, hey, I want to try that at FNM or something like that.
Yeah, I think going back, doing it less often, totally fine. More deck lists in general, great. I really like that. And the 20 card difference, again, you might think like, oh, that should stop it. But as we just said, there's 50 decks popping up for that. So now in Standard, I bet you won't see 50 decks consistently.
Probably
card pool is a
not.
lot smaller.
Yeah,
but you'll still see a ton of different decks, which is cool. So you won't have like if you do like MTG Goldfish, you won't have as many permutations of those decks to look through. But that's fine. Metagame for yourself.
Yeah. And then the last thing to talk about here on our docket for the community is the Star City Games premium membership updates. So Owen Turtenwald had his debut article for Star City Games on Monday, which is a heck of a time to pick a time to show up.
I think it was his re-debut. I think it's been like
10 years
a long
is what he
time.
said.
Yeah, 10 years since he wrote for Star City. But.
And he's going to be a featured writer on the premium side. And then premium memberships are only offered on a month-to-month basis, so you cannot re-up for a year or anything like that. And then premium members will get a 5% discount on most products and singles on StarCityGames.com. So that's interesting. One thing to note, this is more expensive than buying a whole year.
So yes and no. It is cheaper per month.
Yes.
But you no longer have the buy a year option. So if you were a person who only paid monthly, this is actually a discount.
That's like me. Yeah.
Yeah. But if you're a person who like to buy the year to get the savings,
which was $50,
you are literally now paying twice as much as you were before.
Yeah.
So or if you're like me, you're golden because I've been paying the same rate since 2012, and they made a promise 2012 they weren't going to alter that. so I'm going to
That's-
keep paying.
that's
I'm
cool.
not going to tell you how much I'm paying,
That's called
But
being grandfathered in.
but it's a king's ransom compared to what you guys are doing. So it's sweet.
I mean, it'll probably be like I re-upped recently for $50 for the year, and it'll be my last time. I'm not going to do the monthly thing.
I will be interested to see if so the 5% thing sounds like nice, but here's the thing. I don't order very often Star City, and it's not really a knock so much. Like they have the highest quality of singles, and always have for most part have the highest selection, but they're the most expensive. Like you can do much better when you shop around or buy at like local groups and those sorts of things. So 5% off like normalizes it, I guess. That's not enough for me. You know what I mean? Yeah. Now, on like I guess on more expensive items, like if you were a person who was interested in buying like a piece of Power 9 that is graded correctly through Star City, that 5% is actually super significant. So maybe that is enough for you to say, I'm going to do this.
To make that
but
change.
It certainly doesn't seem like, based on all the comments I've seen, and of course Reddit and like both the comments on Reddit and on the article itself been pretty negative, but most of them have decried this. Like, hey, like I paid for your content. Like I paid premium so I could get your premium articles. It had nothing to do with product.
Your product,
so
yeah.
why should I care about this product discount? And I have to assume that Star City doesn't really have strong data to correlate to their premium users and their buying habits. So this does feel pretty cheap to me. Like as a way, like, no, look, we did this. It's like, nah, you didn't. So
Do you think they don't have the data?
no, what I'm saying is like I don't think that data actually supports it. I'm almost certain that data doesn't support it. Like you're just not, you buy certain cars from Star City, but like I certainly do not order enough things in a year to have mitigated that cost.
Yeah, I guess when I would order cards for Star City, if there was a standard open on set release and there was no other way I could get those cards,
Right.
like zero other way, like that's when I would break down
And,
and be like, I have to order from Star City because they'll have them.
You'll get 5% off of that, but it's still way over what those cards are actually valued at.
If they even have more standard opens in the future, like let's be real here.
Also true. I think this was. I don't want to make assumptions about the reason they did this. You know what I mean? Like obviously, they're arguing that it's cheaper monthly, and I guess if most of their, the argument is if most of the people go monthly, then this is a deal. But that doesn't feel like something a company would do. You know what I mean? Like that just doesn't feel like something a company would do. It seems more like this is an issue with like having consistent income from that source every month. So the people who were paying for a year, something about their fiscal year, they needed to keep that money consistent. So I don't know. That's probably bad if I had to guess.
Yeah.
Basically, what it all comes down to is whether it's Jason Mind Sculptor or or Star City Premium. It's just money.
Money rules everything.
Can I also
Everything around
point out?
It's cash rules everything around.
I think
Jace gets the money.
Jace is the money.
You Zero and you Loot Storm. I mean Brainstorm. I do want to make one thing. So Pete, it's a Hofling.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. I like when he writes. He's pretty forthcoming. Hey, this is what we're doing. This is why we're doing it. But so much of that Star City membership article feels disingenuous, and it literally starts by saying like we're going to bring the best possible content we have to you. And it has a picture of Owen on that article, right? Owen started his article this week by saying, I haven't written in a long time, and I didn't do this the way you normally do, right? Like, whereas somebody says, hey, you've been writing, now write for us. I contacted the editor and said, let me write. So it's not like Star City's like, we got you Owen Turtenwald. It's like, Owen Turtenwald got me Owen Turtenwald. Like, what are you talking about? He called you. He even said so.
By the
you
way,
printed it.
Does this feel like the old WWE, WCW, where they were just swapping rosters and stuff? And you had guys going to one company. It's like Channel Fireball and Star City. It's just you have writers that have been on one site. Reed Duke used to be with Star City. Now he's writing for Channel Fireball. And you got Owen going to.
You got BBD who's now in the night. What's the third league where he's on TCG Player?
Who's he writing for now?
He's writing for TCG Player.
I know. I was going to say, is he writing for
But what is I can't think of the name.
He flew to Japan and joined the Japanese wrestling league.
He's writing for Haruya.
Oh man. But no, I don't know. I think this. I don't think there's any way you can spin this that positively, and I won't be surprised to see if within the next week or two they walk it back a little bit and release a yearly option that's a little bit that's somewhere in the middle. Yeah. I would not be surprised to see that because. I know there's it's how the internet works. There's a lot of loud voices, but all of their article stuff is all digital. There's not there's an in-person contingent that's also silent. You know what I mean? They may have to reconsider this. So
I think so. I think it's not a smart move. I think that it is bold of them to like state like that this like 5% bonus that you get is worth the overall like yearly increase. Like it's not. And I understand the company's got to make money, like whatever, but don't fleece your customers.
let me tell you, based on my career, I get 10% off at a lot of stores. A lot. I forget to use it all the time. You know why?
It's insignificant.
Because it doesn't feel like anything. You know what I mean? Like, it doesn't draw me to that store. It doesn't make me go, ooh, let me get down to blank because I got that sweet 10% off today. You know what I mean?
Yeah, especially in this example, like if all the stores you're getting 10% off are already 20% higher than all
Yes.
the other stores.
You mean the Kohl's business model? Star City is the Kohl's of Magic content.
Yeah.
And I don't want to get down on. I will say like I really enjoy having premium. The reading Jerry's articles at Post PT are the best Magic articles I'll read this month, and most of those writers really are worth it. I say most, but I mean like come on,
Yeah.
who wouldn't pay premium to hear the ramblings of Sean McLaren? And I do mean ramblings. The guy's crazy, but he's awesome.
No, they always get me because like I'm not like a consistent premium member. Like I'll go month to month, and like when it runs out, I'm like, okay, I don't renew it. And then like I'll see an article, it's like, all right, you got me. I'll pay to read that. You know what I mean? Like so that's how I go with it. So
apparently, when I initially signed up for Star City Premium way back when, I signed up for the weekly option.
which is gross.
Well, the weekly option was like less than $1, right? But I
Okay.
had free premium when I did it, so I didn't care. So I had free premium, and because of how much we were grinding and how much they gave that stuff away like candy, I had free premium for close to 3 years.
Yeah.
And then they started charging me again after their prices had already gone up before, and I was still being charged. Essentially, it's like 75 cents a week, and I'm still being charged that. You could do the math.
I like how you said you weren't going to say.
You know what?
And then like
Whatever.
eventually it's like, you got me. Twist my arm.
Just bragging
Ah.
now at this point.
Yeah. People hopefully is gonna lock down your premium account, being like, I see you.
Nah, I got it. I got that email. So I feel like they like with people like me, they reserved listed us. It's like, all right, we told you it wouldn't go up, so like, here you go. Now it's not like I'm getting any real equity out of it. Just like, I can go put that false money in the bank. You gotta get these $5 please.
But I mean, like, so let's say they didn't do that. Let's say they said, "Hey, you've gotten this sweet deal, but we at this point in time we're going to cut
Oh
it
no!
off."
Had they cut off my premium, I would have
Yeah,
canceled.
you wouldn't.
I
You
would have
wouldn't do it.
canceled.
So, and yeah, I think this is a bad move. And like I said, I won't be renewing once my year is up because I'm not going to pay $8 a month for what I get. I'm not going to pay like $8 a month for some discount I'm barely going to see an impact of.
I think like the
Not saying,
discount.
and I'm not even going to discredit like the people, like the contributors to that website. I think that they deserve to be paid, but it's just not. Like,
No,
it's not my bracket.
I'm happy to pay for premium, but like,
Yeah.
I agree with you. The 5% just it seems so disingenuous. Give me 5% off events.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
that would be more relevant.
Like I play in enough like events where like if I walked into like an IQ and it was like okay, like I guess IQ probably wouldn't work because like it's their local packages. But like if I went to an open and my open was $5 less and I played on average one open a month ish, right? Then the cost is offset, so it wouldn't matter. You know what I mean? But that's a different fund for them that they could do that with. But I don't know. It seems frustrating. And I agree with you because like I'm the kind of person who wants to make sure people like that, who are doing the writing do get paid. But again, this just feels feels disingenuous just like to do this. I do this method through a lot of places. Like I have a New York Times subscription, right? I have an ESPN Insider subscription. I pay $20 a year for ESPN Insider. And like, no offense to Star City, but ESPN is like a legitimate news organization for sports, right? For a niche hobby thing. Okay. Not as niche, but so you can't justify me spending $100 on your content. You just can't. You can't do it.
Yeah.
I know ESPN has more of a base and everything else. I get how this works, but I can't do it. I can't fund you.
I already fund you through other various means.
Yes, for lots of other reasons, including this. Us even talking about you is equitable. So
yeah, even in a negative light, any press is good press.
yeah, exactly. So like, you should pay us premium.
It's
No?
not going to work.
All right, fair
Probably. They probably have access to our earlier episodes. It's not good. This is not good.
They just just get an email from Peter Hofling that just like has a link to episode 1. It's like, all right, we'll stop.
we get it. We get it.
No, that one doesn't.
Welcome to Richard. We're on the internet.
We're on the internet, I think.
Welcome now. You're in some episode 1. This is on the internet forever now.
Hey, have you heard
regrettably.
have you heard about Brad Nelson?
I'm glad we changed.
Oh my god!
Glad we changed.
I don't think that episode exists anymore. I don't think you could find it.
I
I
mean,
mean, nothing's really dead on the internet. So.
Yeah.
I know that's true, but
gotta go
I
to
think
the dark web.
it's sufficiently buried.
At your Insta dark web homepage.
Just look for the fiery ring logo.
that's it.
That's when you know you're on the right.
That are totally not copyrighted.
You're definitely
you know
not
you're on the right
copyrighted.
track when you see the fiery
all right.
ring.
Fiery ring. Yeah, you've got to click the secret dot in the middle of it. That's how you get there.
That's how it shows up. We done hit it pretty well.
Oh my gosh.
All right. So before we jump into competitive, do you want to give a shout out, of course, to Comic Town? They are a lovely sponsor for the one of our lovely sponsors, I should say, for the show. If you want some more information about what they do, what events they run, you can do a quick Facebook search for Comic Town Gaming Center and give them a visit. And if you're local, stop in the shop. All right, competitive. So
Speaking of stopping at the shop,
yeah, over the weekend there was an IQ that Mike and I definitely weren't going to, and yet we showed up there
Yep,
for some
it was
reason.
weird.
It's crazy.
people's format.
It was
You're not wrong.
It'll get you every time.
It was a 92 person modern IQ, which is insane. That's like a small classic for a local event.
Yeah, you're not wrong.
We all played various forms of Magic. I played Mono Green Tron. It was the first time I played Mono Green Tron. I usually either play like Black Green or Green Red, and I missed out on top 8. I had a win it in and lost to my Blue Red Pyromancer opponent, and then lost to the mirror to end out the day. But I actually really enjoyed playing Mono Green. Definitely had played land destruction, and people were playing like Ghost Quarters and Field of Ruins, and I just had like infinite forests to grab, which kind of felt great. And the one thing I'm very sad about is that I had an Evercool, the Promised End, in my deck, and I never got to cast it.
Aw, I'm so
Through
sorry.
all the rounds, never got to cast it. So I'll keep it sleeved up and I'll try again. But I'd run the deck back. It's Tron. There's nothing really new to talk about it. It's just like a good deck. So whatever.
Yeah, a deck that literally doesn't care about the 2 cards. Just give off the
Yeah,
advantage.
for the most part, it cares about the other decks that might be in the metagame now that those cards are in ban, because Tron doesn't have like a good matchup against like the fast decks or the combo decks, so that could be a problem. But oh well.
I think it's hard to like speculate on like the
Tron,
Sure.
the
Tron will
impact.
just continue to do Tron things. Either
correct.
way.
Yeah,
Correct.
Tron's gonna Tron.
But hopefully I'll be able to cast that Emrakul sometime soon.
Yeah, like anybody who's like says they know where the format's going now is just lying, because nobody knows really.
Hey, they also knew about Jace though too. So
Yeah, they
everyone
call
on the
it-
internet knew. I want you to
Well-
understand. I gotta tell you how many times I read the statement. No one believed me, or and I was just like, yeah, like what do you want from us? Like I don't like. You didn't believe you. Let's be honest here. If you did, you would have 70 Jaces right now, and you'd be making all of the money.
To be fair, I'm sure there's people out there that definitely have like
Oh, there's some. There's a few, but I'm just saying, like the internet as a whole, they all knew,
in some of the
and they're all buying.
some of the Magic like Facebook groups that do buy and selling. I've seen like people with just like rows and rows of Bloodbraid Elves. It's just like
Oh, that one makes more sense. That
Yeah,
one,
of course.
Yeah.
When people said they knew about that one, we all go, we know.
yeah, we all
Yeah,
knew.
of
We just chose to like ignore it.
The hive mind knew.
So, Dave, what did you play?
I definitely did not have a win in. I played Blue Red Pyromancer pretty close to the list at top 8 of the Pro Tour. So, lost to my own misplays.
That's how I felt too.
Yeah. No, I lost to Burn in round 1, and that match was pretty close. I think my draws were not stellar.
I also lost the Burn round 1.
Yeah. So that one was one I was hoping not to play against Burn, and then I of course,
I always hope playing Tron. I always hope not to play against Burn, especially like I was playing mono green, so it's like it's a little bit worse. You're playing like 3 Thragtusk, and like hopefully this is good. Hopefully that's enough. I don't have the skull crack.
Yeah, but lost to Burn, beat Red Green Titan Scape Shift, beat Eldrazi Tron somehow, which I don't know how, but my opponent mulliganed and my draws were good. And then lost to the Corey Burkhart Grixis Control deck in three games. But deck felt good. I don't know if I'm going to run it back this weekend at the Open.
You shouldn't.
I shouldn't.
It's not good.
Yeah, you're probably right.
Yeah.
No, I'm leaning towards playing Traverse Shadow this weekend partially because I want to be proactive instead of playing remands and cryptic commands in my deck. Also, because I could see myself playing like mono blue decks. Well, not straight blue, but like only blue
decks.
Blue X decks.
Yeah.
With Jace in them for forever after this. So it's like I gotta play a non-blue deck. So, but.
I don't think the Pyromancer that version of the Pyromancer deck. I just don't think there's a lot of people even said post Pro Tour that like it was good for that Pro Tour, but I think in the format at large, like you're just looking at all the big mana decks being you're kind of a big dog too, and also just not.
I would have played Tron all day with that deck. Like I think
you think so?
Yeah.
Is that deck fast enough to beat Tron consistently?
I mean, like you have a ton of counter spells. You have Field of Ruins.
I guess I want to see it play out because like when I look at that deck and I look at the spells that deck is playing for the most part. So much of it underwhelms me that I need to see it. Like,
nah, I wouldn't have minded. I would have rather played Tron and then Burn in round 1.
Well, that's fair. Yeah, that's understandable.
But. Yeah, I don't know about all day, maybe.
Yeah,
but I mean, I wouldn't mind playing.
No, you just that's what you're gonna play in Indie all day. So,
and to be fair, in that room of people, you could have probably played Tron all day.
No, there was a lot. Columbus is always so much Tron.
I don't know. It's the Church of Karn, man.
Jordan puts his robes on and starts leading the followers. Yeah. I even got Finkel to convert to the Church of the Seven.
Church of Seven, man.
What did you play, Mike?
I played. So the reason I came out to play Modern was my wife had decided she was going to kind of have just like a sleepy day. She's like, I'm just going to do this. I'm like, well, I'm going to play this deck, I guess. And I really wanted to play Mardu Death Shadow. So Jerry Thompson in his article last week on Premium, which again he's well worth paying for, talked about his Mardu Pyromancer list from the Pro Tour, and at the end of his article, he dropped a list for Mardu Death Shadow, and he was like,
it's like an experimental.
He was like,
list.
I think this deck is possibly broken, or I don't know. Here's a 62 card main deck and a 17 card sideboard.
You figure it out.
Figure it out, and I did. And I had a blast. I enjoyed everything I was doing with that deck. It's playing Bedlam Revelers and Death Shadows, a couple young Pyromancers. It still has a Lingering Souls package. It's using Faithless Looting. It's playing a bunch of Manamorphoses, so you can easily splash the Lingering Souls. And it just does like everything it was doing. I really, really enjoyed. And like I sat down and played against I played actually the same red green Scape Shift player that Dave played against in round 2. And like in round 1, like I was able to like dissect his hand game 1 and like stay out of lethal range, like as far as like him going slow into strong lands and churn out like a win. And then game 2, like so like I felt like the sideboard cards in the deck with Faceless Looting, you just find them and like was able to like find the Blood Moon against him and like beat him with a Hazoret the Fervent, which was oh my gosh, gotta tell you, Hazoret. Real sweet.
I mean,
I played against Lantern after that, against Bobby Colgrove. So
yeah,
I just say we haven't
former Elf Master, now playing Lantern. What is the world coming to?
We used to, but Bobby used to be the goober of the podcast. Had to be listed all the time. But he was playing Lantern, and like game 1, he was able to lock me out pretty quickly. He was able to find multiple bridges, and he made me discard my last mill the last call against command and had scooped from there. Game 2 though was. I've been going through this game like literally every day, like in my head, because I think I misplayed like 9 different ways, and it was just a crazy I don't know, it was really, really fun. And like Hazoret, I landed a Hazoret against him, and it was a clock of just like, can he beat me before I kill him with Hazoret? And he hit Tezzeret, and oh my gosh, it was it was really enjoyable.
Lots
I just keep
of
going.
Zets.
I just keep going back to that game where like I ended up dying to Pirate Spellbomb is what I lost to in that game. So like not even like milling. It was close, but it was just I don't know. It was a lot of fun there. I ended up losing to Grixis Death Shadow in some pretty miserable games. I mulled the 5 in that matchup and just couldn't really get anything going. But I beat Affinity and I also beat Traverse Shadow. And like playing against Traverse Shadow was just awesome. Like against the other Shadow decks, like even against Grixis, I felt like I definitely had a better list. Like as far as like for a mirror, I just mulliganed a bunch. But having access to Lingering Souls and like Young Pyromancer just means that you don't have to rely so heavily on like one big threat. Like you don't have to go all in on the under Death Shadow necessarily. And also Bedlam Reveler, just like no other version of Death Shadow has a card that lets you get back ahead. Like that's what I always felt like in Grixis, where like Snapcaster is your best card in Grixis because it lets you get a little bit of card advantage. Whereas like even in Traverse, like you're using Traverse for that, but you're really never getting card advantage. Like if you're behind, then you're running off the top of your deck. You're also trying to get Snapcaster in that matchup. And these ones though, like we're exchanging resources, and then I'm just like Bedlam Reveler, and it's like, oh, I have a threat you can't Fatal Push or Abrupt Decay. I have all these cards. Like it felt, I don't know. So I went 3 and 2, and like I went 1 and 2 and should have just dropped and gone home. But I kept playing rounds because I just wanted to play the deck. I don't know. I really am enjoying it. So I want to keep playing it.
Yeah, I'm also building Spider Pyromancer as well. I don't have Death Shadows anymore.
So
but
it's cool. You don't have to because you get the Blackleaf Cliffs. I'll have all the Death Shadow stuff, and we can swap when necessary.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I do have Blackleaf Cliffs now.
There you go.
So I got them before they went up.
That card's also $900.
Yeah.
So
So glad I have them now.
So Morgan, what are your thoughts on Black Red Hollow One? Is that a deck that's on your radar?
That deck is interesting, but I would have to see how the format looks because if Jace is the card to beat, you do not want to be. I don't know if you want to be playing that card.
You don't want to play like turn 1 Hollow One. Like, it seems really good against Jace.
I think the swings could be really bad though. It's like, oh, cool. All my creatures are pretty susceptible to bounce, which feels kind of bad.
Hey friend.
I know
I have some cards of yours. I do have 2 Goblin Lores I could interest you in that are worth more than all your standard cards.
No, thank you. I will have to see how these settle. Because those Goblin Lores could be.
Let me tell you a little story about goblins.
I also have some number of Goblin Lores.
Oh, no, I don't want any of your Goblin Lores.
Are you sure?
Yes. Hey, you know
they
what?
are 10th edition.
Mine are as well. You can have a playset of the same one.
You might have got me if we didn't have these unbannings that happened, but I got to see where things settle. Sorry.
I mean, honestly, like I actually do think like that deck is probably quite good. Yeah, it also has bolts in it. Like, I don't think Jace is going to be a problem.
Can we talk about that for a second?
Yeah.
Like how Bolt has got to be king in the format again, right?
Oh, yeah.
Like all the cards that both got unbanned, like just like died a lightning bolt. It's just like Bolt's like, I'm back, baby.
Yeah. Get this pretender out of here. Fatal Push.
Yeah, and like the decks that are playing Jace are also going to have a Bolt and other ways to deal with. Hollow One I'm not saying the deck's dead.
Hollow One.
I understand. I'm not saying the deck is dead, but
it's nowhere near dead. I don't know that it's actually affected by these bannings at all.
Yeah, but I got to see how things shake out. I don't know I don't necessarily what is like going to be good or bad.
I can't hold on to these Goblin Lores for a month, man. I gotta sell them now.
They're like, so hot right
now. They're like $12 right now. Like this is unbelievable.
Goblin Lore so hot right now.
It's the most expensive Goblin card in Modern. Okay,
no, Goblin Guide's still more expensive. Get wrecked.
It's barely right.
It's still more.
Okay, my bad.
It still counts.
In a format where you can play both Goblin Pile Driver and Goblin Rabble Master, Goblin Lore is king.
Well,
so like, let me tell you a story about Goblin Lore.
I already made that joke just a second ago, but
sorry, man. Obviously,
but for some reason, I thought you were doing like a weird Beverly Hillbillies joke.
Yeah.
Like, let me tell you a little story about a goblin Lore. Something that struck oil.
Moved to Beverly Hills. It's wacky.
No, a picture of a goblin guy in a rocking chair in the back of a truck.
Anyway, so that was our local tournament.
I don't know if you said, but Jordan did top 8.
Yeah, I was going to get to it. So yeah, and Jordan also played. He played Green Blacktron, and he won his win and in, and went on to top 8, and was defeated by Eric Rose in his quarterfinal.
Yeah, who went on to win the event? So
yes,
congrats to Eric Rose.
Congratulations
to Jack Rump.
playing humans. They're both playing
humans mirror in the finals.
Yeah.
And I was playing a deck that has a pretty good humans matchup. Didn't see humans all day. So
rough. Yeah,
so
I
that's how
mean,
the cookie crumbles.
Yeah, local metagame is like humans is still like a pretty expensive deck.
I'm fairly certain that like Eric was also playing a version that didn't have ancient ziggurats. So like, like it is what it is.
I was like, hey, did you find the cards you're looking for? He's like, not playing with fast lands. All right.
But, Jack is funny. So we've talked about him before, but he was a guy who played the 5-color aggro deck
He's
forever.
playing like the Pillar of the Parents.
Yeah,
aggro.
like
5-color
those
creature aggro.
Yeah, it was creature aggro, and like I saw him at table 1. They were at one of the middle rounds, and I was just like, it's like switch to humans, huh? And he's like, this deck is just so much better.
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah, you were struggling to make me
This deck is legit.
Like,
yeah.
He's like, no, like what was I doing? This is just the deck.
You know what? I feel like that, but that probably still feels good. Like,
Oh, no, yeah.
He's like 5-color aggro it's somewhere. It's in here in this
I
format.
knew Ancient Ziggurat was good enough.
Yeah, it's like take out the Siege Rhinos and the Falcon Wrath Aristocrats. Add, I don't know,
Hey man,
Kitesail Freebooter.
Aristocrat kills
and,
Jason.
like Metal League Mage.
he was definitely playing the Phantasmal Image version, and he definitely told me about how the round before I talked to him, his blue-white opponent was at 19 and had tapped out for something, and then played and had a Gideon of the Trials, and he was deciding what he should do with the Gideon of the Trials, and he realized it was going to die either way. So instead of like zeroing it or ticking it up, just like whatever, he just like attacked for 4 and passed the turn. And then Jack hit him for 20.
Is it like, yeah, I'm assuming it's some number of like
Thalia's
Mantis
attendants, there was
Riders.
Thalia's attendants and multiple Thalia's attendants and Phantasmal Images, and then after combat he had a Kessig Malcontents for 7. So it was just like his opponent's at 19. He's like, "Well, I'll attack you for 4," and he's like, "Oh, you're dead."
I can't tell you how happy I am that Kessig Malcontents is like a contender in Modern. I just like that card
It's
for
so
some
good.
reason. And it's just like boom.
It's definitely really good when you're playing a bunch of clones.
Yeah.
I mean, it's pretty cool to see like how that deck has evolved.
Yeah.
Like Malcontents is a card that I wasn't playing originally. Even like
those first few weeks afterwards, we thought it might fall off after it had that big show, and then like
No,
it came back hard.
It's interesting because like it was like a new deck that hit the streets, and then like it evolved, and I don't think you could necessarily see that with a lot of like new decks that come out. They just die off, but it being able to change is really interesting, and just the sheer fact that it's a deck that is always going to be getting new cards in every new set. So
I think there's like something to be made about like the indomitable spirit of the human
yeah,
will.
no,
Like,
it just it surpasses
will,
all.
the human spirit. There's what I
Yeah.
want to say. Just like yeah, of course the humans evolved. They could adapt to their environment.
Yeah, it's wild.
The human's the
That's-
only person that can
that's-
live in all these different places, man.
That's real meta. So.
Game.
Yeah. But let's talk about Toronto. So Toronto is a Modern, of course, and it's kind of weird to talk about these Modern tournaments. It's going to be weird next week when we talk about Modern tournaments. But hey, at least no one knew that we were going to have Jason Bloodraid at this tournament.
Except for maybe like you think like commentators did. They were just like,
Yeah,
idiots.
clearly laughing. No, I think if they told Riley Knight, I don't think he could actually keep it contained.
He's like rips his shirt off and he's got a Jason the White Sculptor tattoo on his chest.
This is for you. But the finals was actively hilarious because we have Dan Ward taking it down with Boggles, defeating John Stern, playing Burn in the finals. So like two pretty linear, non-interactive, aggressive decks just crushing the format. But yeah, it's that's kind of the big one of the bigger stories is that Boggles did surprisingly well.
Yeah, this weird joke top 8. Boggles, Grishelbrand, Elves. Like, sure, whatever, guys.
Yeah, I mean, like clearly this format is just it's just not diverse enough. We don't see Control anywhere here in the top 8. Oh wait, yeah, we do. It's third place, potted by Luke Purcell. But in all honesty, we have again one repeat, if I'm not mistaken, or
Burn top 8
yeah,
twice.
Burn top 8 twice. But other than that, 7 distinct archetypes really showing up here in the top 8, showing that format's diverse. And
Also Traverse.
and also also diverse, traverse, many verses, a multiverse, you might even say.
Nice. Well done.
And Marty Pyromans are 2 lists just missing out on top 8, piloted by Cody Gravel and Matthew Ferradano. Ferrando, excuse me. I have dyslexia sometimes. But I don't know. It's cool to see things like Elves and like Griselbrand show up, because like I feel Elves is always like one of those decks that's almost there and like it's still somewhat good, but things kind of have to break its way to really show up in contention.
Yeah.
And the Griselbrand deck, it's something that was like really hot for a while and then like completely fell off. So
Still pretty powerful. If
Oh,
you're
for
not
sure.
prepared for it.
yeah, and you I think you have to pick your spots. I think that people he might have like accurately guessed that maybe Graveyard Hate was kind of at a low, so why not try it?
I just want to say one thing. So I watched not a lot of this tournament. I did catch a little bit of the top 8 match. So John Stern playing Burn played against Jonathan Zhang playing Griselbrand. I think it was the quarterfinals.
Mm-hmm.
It was one of the matches in the top 8. And John Stern had 2 main deck Skullcracks. He got him real good with the he gassed the shoal like to try to gain 11 life. It's like, oh man, he got Skullcracked so bad. It was pretty.
I don't
unreal.
think
Get
so.
dunked on.
Yeah,
Yeah,
You just saw Stern reach across the table, just go bap.
yeah, probably the best Skullcrack ever.
but yeah, Boggles. The first of all, the finals is kind of miserable to watch. I'll be the first to say that because they had the tournament playing during the IQ, and it was just like, all right.
Well, John Stern actually had like some counterplay after board here.
Yeah, he had Snare Bridges.
Yeah, and Snaring Bridge is actually pretty good against Boggles.
Yeah, it is until like you just died a 1/1 Boggles, which is how he died.
Did he?
Yes.
He lost to 1/1 Boggles. He didn't get
Yes.
Seal of Primordium.
I forget how the game actually went, but I know that Dan Ward at least attacked him down to 2 life with unpantsed Boggles. All right, I did see that.
No pants.
No pants, no chance. So it was definitely like a weird finals.
Man, I love this Boggles deck. Like, I love Dromoka's Commando sideboard so much. Like, that card just is so gross. Even like in the against Burn, where it's just like no, actually, just I'm gonna prevent that damage and put a counter on this.
That's like the anti Skullcrack.
Oh God, no!
You try to
it's like,
Skullcrack me, well,
I'll
then
prevent
Dromoka's
this,
command you.
and you'll sack your Eidolon. Oh God!
Yeah.
Yeah, it's bad. I don't want to see that card. I don't like that card, Bird. But
Yeah, Todd Stevens has been playing that card a little bit in his green-white decks.
yeah, he was actually pretty devastated by these bans. He thinks the green.
Oh yeah, you think?
he thinks
you think his green-white like
he thinks
nothing
green-white
value decks to like
value
try to
stat
play
is-
against Jace?
is like dead.
Yeah, you want to know what decks lose against Jace? Like decks that have.
I mean, but those decks weren't beating like I think blue-white control consistently either.
Oh,
anyway.
probably
So,
not.
like,
well, they could grind.
they can grind, sure, but they also just play garbage cards. So
Can I just say I'm happy blue finally has a card that could like actually get card advantage. It's like green gets like Collected Company and like Tireless Tracker and all these things that draw a million cards, and it's like blue's like
red gets Goblin Lore.
yeah, I know. Jeez,
Burning Inquiry. I guess.
I mean,
No, Goblin Lore nets you a card. Okay,
That's true.
Well, I guess not because you played the card, so it's parody. But whatever.
blue got Ancestral Vision, which is seen play here and there, but not consistent play. Like it's kind of slow for modern.
In top 8 of the Pro Tour. Like,
Yeah, but
You played
it's
it.
not consistent. I did play it, and it was miserable. I played against Burn, and I'm like sitting there. I'm like, oh, I really need to draw a counterspell here, and then I drew Ancestral Visions. I'm like, sweet. Card doesn't
just
do
like
anything.
Wizards designed it.
Yeah, yeah. Anyway, keep going back to Jace, but I can't help it.
I think a lot of people are going to go back to Jace. A lot of people who like maybe ended that relationship in a messy way, and they're just like, Jace, I hope you'll find it within your heart to forgive me
Yeah.
because I'm back. It makes so much sense that like they did this for Valentine's Day because Jace really deserves the love. He really does. You know, do you know that Jason
I
Mind
said-
Sculptor
I
starring
said
his own
goodbye to
version,
Delver
50 Shades
forever.
of Bluer?
I said goodbye to Delver forever.
Wow. But Jace helps Delver
back,
flip.
Going back to my first love.
Wow.
That's it.
Wow. You know, I want you to understand how badly you've abused Delver over the years, where you're just like,
Yeah, you're
I'm
kinda-
back.
I think it was
I'm
the other
back.
way around. No, it was the other way around.
I don't think it was.
don't
Delver,
know how many times
Delver
Delver never
told you
flipped for me?
exactly what you were getting into when you entered that relationship.
It could have been like a mutually toxic sort of arrangement.
Why can't I quit you?
It was bad for both parties. I think this.
It was, you know what it was? I really just missed Jace. That's what it all comes.
Whenever you're trying to flip me, I know you're thinking about Chase.
That's why they never work.
Oh man.
Anyway,
We need a magic psychologist.
any more interesting tidbits about GP Toronto? I know it was cold and snowy.
I bet there were a bunch of interesting Timbits at GP Toronto.
Probably. Tim Hortons a big deal up in Canada, I've heard.
I want you to understand I'm really proud of that joke. So
That was good. That was good.
That's solid. That's a good one.
I just want to point out we had an Amulet Titan deck finishing 12th.
Yeah.
Edgar,
around.
Edgar Maghales. And we also had Jeskai Breach, which we haven't seen since that one GP where it top aided.
Oh yeah. The Titan Amulet player has been on that deck for some time.
Yeah. I can't remember if he's been playing on the
Motor Prime
SCG
Ranch was
circuit.
9th and 10th.
Yeah. 9th and
Jeez.
10th.
Well, the 10th place list has a Hazard in the main.
Hazard's good. Big fan.
I just want to say,
Souls discarded.
jeez. I was just say I enjoy that the Jeskai Breach deck is correctly playing Nahiri in the main deck,
Yeah. That makes sense.
which makes total sense.
Oh, I didn't see Zan Saeed top 16.
Yeah.
So
with humans.
Definitely a notable Star City grinder.
Yeah, and also Jonathan Rossum playing Jeskai Control, finishing 11th. Another SUG staple.
Yeah.
I'll say. He's kind of gone back. He went from playing Jeskai a lot to playing humans to playing the more. I think he's playing the more controlling version of Jeskai in this tournament. Yeah. The Search for Azcanta kind of control version. But yeah, I mean, there's a ton of stuff going on here. I mean, it's pretty diverse.
The 27th place Eldrazi Taxes list, piloted by Nicholas D'Ambrose, is playing 2 Shining Shoal
Whoa.
in his deck.
Ooh,
And I'm not sure that's
the
Prevent,
Shining Shoal, the old 4/5/6, as it were. Nobody will get that joke.
Nope.
Don't care.
Okay. Okay.
You guys didn't even laugh.
Who are you talking to there? Because I don't get the joke. So
How about the warships on that board?
Yeah.
But nobody's prepared for that anymore.
I
They're like,
honestly,
there's no Bant Eldrazi deck.
I honestly thought you said warship for a second, and then I thought Wargate for some reason.
Yeah, Wargate.
So I forget you've got that Boston accent that comes out sometimes.
Get them warships.
You get the warships.
It is important to point out this is a mono white deck. This is not white black as we've typically seen.
They've decided to go white hat and didn't play the Strangler.
Yeah, they got rid of it. They're onto a different life. They're done communicating with the known criminal as the Eldrazi Strangler.
I've got my wife watching Westworld, so now the white hat terminology is like stuck in my head.
I want to rewatch season 1.
That's what we're doing. It's been it's good even though the second watching.
Yeah.
So, but that way she can watch the new season with me. So I'm
Yeah.
pretty excited about that.
Yeah.
Anyways,
But yeah,
Magic.
Yeah, I think that's everything for the Open. So
the GP.
Excuse the GP. Jeez.
Oh, the opens this weekend.
Yeah, it opens this weekend. So before we wrap up, definitely give a shout out to BCW Supplies. They are going to be, of course, bringing Team BCW to one of the local shops in the Indianapolis area. So if you want some more information about that, or some more information about BCW Supplies' other products, you can definitely check them out at Facebook. So it's just do a quick search for BCW Supplies, or you can go to bcwsupplies.com and you can follow Team BCW on Facebook and on Twitter. Just do a search for BCW Supplies.
There'll be a game time in Indianapolis.
Game time. I think we've been there.
We have been there.
Yeah.
So that's a fine store.
Yeah. So
Pretty
definitely.
sure we watched Elliot win a PPTQ.
Is that the place?
I think it was.
Okay.
So
So yeah, you could definitely check them out and get more details about that event on Facebook. So wrap up, we have GP Lyon and Star City Games Indy, which are both modern tournaments. So tune into those if you want to see like the last hurrah of like the current modern as it stands currently. But it'll definitely change.
Yeah,
maybe not a lot, but
I
it'll
know
change.
You,
It'll be
you
different.
were very much on like this being like lame duck, but I really think that Modern's not going to change that drastically that quickly. That like this is not an invalidated tournament by any means.
Like no one can say how much it's going to change or not change. It doesn't invalidate.
Oh,
the
I can say
tournament.
whatever I want.
No one can say for sure. Okay, but it's
Tron's going to start playing Jace. I can say whatever I want.
Blue Lightron maybe.
Man, Mono Blutron.
Hey, shut up.
Oh baby. Oh baby.
I know how to get them. just
Man, you can put those Ionas back in the deck. Oh man.
I think you just broke me.
Oh man.
Why'd you do this to me? I need
saw-
gifts on
That's
Givens.
like
Who's
when
got
somebody
cheap gifts on
mentions
Givens?
Delver. Yeah. It's like, oh man.
I got gifts. I can.
I'll trade you Goblin Lores.
Like they're about the same price.
No, thank you.
Goblin Lores definitely more expensive than gifts ungiven.
No, thank you. I'd rather not. Anyway, but that is what's going to be happening over the weekend. Also, a quick shout out to Dave. Happy birthday, Dave! It was his birthday on the 11th.
Yeah. People were not considerate and did not scoop to me in the IQ.
That's rude.
I was sad, but
It's terrible.
It's all your deck choice. No, I can't.
Nah.
Principle.
So, and
my deck choice was fine. I actually, it is good against humans and Tron. There was a ton of that there. Just didn't work out. Lost my own misplays.
didn't break your way.
Quick shout out to Morgan, whose birthday is on Friday.
Yeah, I'm very excited.
Quick shout out to Elliot Mork, friend of the show, whose birthday was yesterday.
Yeah, you know.
Hey, I just want you to know we did a show near my birthday and no one shouted at me. But hey, it's cool, friends.
I wish that was a good friend. You were only the best man at my wedding, but who cares? Who's counting?
Then you didn't shout out my birthday on the podcast.
Whatever.
It all went downhill from there.
But anyway, that'll be it for tonight's show. If you want to give us a follow on Facebook, you quick search for us. It's just Your End Step. And when you add us, it's at Your End Step. Or Facebook, you can do a search for at Your End Step. We also have an email address at yourendstep@gmail.com. And this segment of the show is how many times I can say at really close together. If you wanted to maybe...
If you enjoy watching The Empire Strikes Back, you can watch ads.
We also have a Patreon if you are interested in potentially becoming
Paying for all these ads.
potentially becoming a patron of our show. You can check that out at patreon.com/@yourendstep. If you're listening to us on iTunes, feel free to leave us a review or a rating. It really helps with visibility and gets us some new listeners to the show. We also post the show on MTGcast, so if you got us from there, be sure to check out some of the other awesome Magic the Gathering programming you can view and listen to. You can't view anything on there except for like images and stuff, but listen to from that website. But that is going to be everything for this week. Thank you again to, of course, our two sponsors, Comic Town and BCW Supplies. We'll catch you guys next week, and you have a great one. Bye.